In every courtroom where justice is meant to prevail, emotions can sometimes erupt, turning moments of order into scenes of chaos. Picture this: a room filled with grief-stricken families, a defendant facing the consequences of unspeakable crimes, and an atmosphere thick with tension. Suddenly, the fragile calm shatters, words escalate, tempers flare, and raw human emotion takes over, blurring the lines between law and disorder. Today we'll look into two unforgettable moments where the restraint of the courtroom broke under the weight of the heartbreak and rage. From a grieving family's explosive confrontation with a murderer to a father's desperate attempt to confront the serial killer who stole his child, these incidents reveal the intense human emotions that can surface in places designed to maintain control. Join us as we explore these powerful moments, exploring the stories behind the outbursts and reflecting on the deep, uncontainable emotions that shape the human side of justice. In a Houston courtroom, the atmosphere is charged with tension as 19-year-old Frank DeLeon Jr. stands before the judge, having just accepted a plea deal for the January 2022 murder of his ex-girlfriend, 16-year-old Diamond Alvarez. The courtroom is filled with Alvarez's family, their grief visible as her mother, Ana Machado, prepares to deliver a victim impact statement. Initially hesitant, DeLeon ultimately agrees to a 45-year prison sentence, thereby avoiding a full murder trial. Alvarez was a promising young student, known for her love of basketball and volleyball, with dreams of becoming a cosmetologist. Her life was tragically cut short when she was shot 22 times while walking her dog near her home in southwest Houston. Investigations revealed that Alvarez had agreed to meet DeLeon in a neighborhood park after discovering he was involved in another relationship. As the proceedings commence, the weight of the impending sentencing hangs heavily over the courtroom. Family members and friends of Alvarez sit in silent anticipation, their faces filled with sorrow and anger. The defense and prosecution have reached a plea agreement, sparing the family the ordeal of a lengthy trial, but also evoking mixed emotions about the adequacy of the proposed sentence. Machado takes the stand, her voice trembling with emotion as she addresses DeLeon directly. Her words resonate through the courtroom. As she concludes her statement, she steps down and begins to approach DeLeon. A bailiff swiftly intervenes, restraining her before she can reach him. In the midst of this, Alvarez's uncle, unable to contain his fury, charges toward DeLeon, igniting a physical fight between the two families. The courtroom erupts into chaos as Machado and DeLeon's mother become entangled in the confrontation. Court officers scramble to separate the two parties, their shouts of order barely audible over the commotion. The attack is eventually subdued, but not without leaving a lasting impression on all present. Alvarez's uncle is detained, though it remains unclear if any charges will be filed against him. In the aftermath of the brawl, Machado speaks to the media, her voice heavy with remorse and lingering anger.
It was wrong of me, that was wrong of us, because we're not monsters. But it's so much hate, because I want my daughter back. And what he did it was horrible. Seeing my daughter there and looking at him that he did that and he's laughing in my face. It was very wrong, and I'm so sorry for that.
Her apology reflects the internal conflict between her desire for justice and the overwhelming grief that led to the outburst. She further reflects on the sentencing, expressing a sense of relief tempered by the enduring pain of loss.
I've been fighting for justice, and today, finally, my daughter has her justice. He's got what he deserves, and I'm gonna focus on my family, and Diamond has her justice. I just want to move forward.
Her words convey a bittersweet acceptance, acknowledging the limitations of the legal system in truly healing the wounds inflicted by such a tragedy. Harris County District Attorney Kim Ogg comments on the case.
It's the victim we should remember. Diamond Alvarez was an innocent young woman Today, justice was achieved for her.
Emphasizing its tragic nature, the courtroom incident also has broader implications, inadvertently facilitating the escape of a defendant in an unrelated case. During the chaos, Michael Devin Combs, who was in a nearby courtroom facing charges of assaulting the mother of his 2 children, manages to flee. He is later apprehended, but the incident raises concerns about courtroom security and the unforeseen consequences of emotional outbursts during legal proceedings. The tragic case of Diamond Alvarez serves as a harsh reminder of the dangers inherent in intimate partner violence, particularly among young individuals. Prosecutors Steve Walsh and Kim Garcia highlight the importance of raising awareness during Domestic Violence Awareness Month, aiming to prevent such senseless acts in the future. They stress the need for early intervention and education to address the warning signs of abusive relationships. In the wake of the incident, community organizations in Houston renew their commitment to supporting families affected by domestic violence. Initiatives are launched to provide counseling services, legal assistance, and educational programs aimed at preventing intimate partner violence. The case becomes a catalyst for change, inspiring efforts to create a safer environment for all individuals, particularly vulnerable teenagers. The memory of Diamond Alvarez continues to resonate within the community, her story serving as both a cautionary tale and a call to action. Vigils and memorials are held in her honor, creating a sense of solidarity and collective responsibility to address the underlying issues that lead to such tragedies. In a Cleveland courtroom, the air is thick with grief and anticipation as a sentencing hearing for convicted serial killer Michael Madison unfolds. Madison, found guilty of murdering 3 women in East Cleveland, including 18-year-old Sherelda Terry, awaits his fate. The courtroom is filled with the victims' families seeking justice for their loved ones. Among them is Van Terry, father of Sherelda, who prepares to deliver a victim impact statement, a final opportunity to address the man who brutally ended his daughter's life. Madison's crimes have cast a long shadow over the community. The bodies of his victims were discovered in 2013, wrapped in garbage bags near his East Cleveland apartment. The trial has been a challenging journey for the families, culminating in this pivotal moment. As the judge prepares to pronounce the sentence, the tension in the room is visible, with everyone present acutely aware of the emotional weight carried by the victims' families. Van Terry approaches the podium, introducing himself with a voice trembling from the weight of his grief.
My name is Van Terry. Father Sherelda Terry.
Gaze locks on to Madison, who sits with an unsettling demeanor. Terry's emotions swell, and he addresses the court.
Right now, I guess we're supposed to, in our hearts, forgive this clown who's touched our families, taken my child.
His words hang in the air. In a moment that shocks the courtroom, Madison smirks, a gesture that ignites Terry's simmering anger into action. Overwhelmed by a surge of emotion, Terry lunges at Madison, attempting to reach the man who caused his family so much pain. The courtroom erupts into chaos as deputies swiftly intervene, restraining Terry before he can make contact. Gasps and cries fill the air, the orderly proceedings shattered by this raw display of grief and anger. Madison remains seated, his expression unaltered, seemingly indifferent to the chaos surrounding him. In the immediate aftermath, the judge calls for a recess to restore order in the courtroom. Terry is escorted out, his anguish noticeable, leaving a room filled with a stunned violence. While his actions disrupted the proceedings, they evoke empathy from many present, who understand the depth of his pain. Family members of other victims express support for Terry, acknowledging the shared grief that binds them. The courtroom, intended as a venue for justice, becomes a space where the rawest human emotions are laid bare. The hearing resumes after a brief delay, with heightened security ensuring no further disruptions. The judge addresses the court, emphasizing the importance of maintaining decorum, yet also expressing understanding of the emotional strain experienced by the victims' families. Terry's outburst, while against courtroom protocol, is seen by many as a natural expression of a father's love and loss. No charges are filed against him, and is released shortly after the incident. The media coverage of the event brings national attention to the case, with many expressing solidarity with Terry. Discussions emerge about the emotional challenges faced by families in the judicial system, and the need for greater support system to help them navigate such traumatic experiences. Madison's sentencing proceeds, with the judge affirming the jury's recommendation of the death penalty. Justice is formally served, yet the emotional wounds for the families remain deep. Terry's actions during the hearing symbolize the pain endured by those left behind. His attempt to confront Madison physically, though halted, resonates as a powerful example of a father's love and the depths of his despair. In the community, Terry's actions are met with a mixture of empathy and concern. While many understand his grief, there is also recognition of the importance of allowing the legal process to proceed without interruption. The legacy of this incident continues to influence discussions on how to create a more empathetic and supportive environment within the judicial process. In the years following the sentencing, efforts are made to honor the memory of Madison's victims. Memorials and community initiatives are established, aiming to provide support for families affected by similar tragedies. These two courtroom incidents remind us of the unpredictable and deeply human element that exists within spaces designed to maintain order and justice. From the heartbreaking brawl following Frank De Leon Jr.'s sentencing to Van Terry's desperate lunge toward Michael Madison, these moments show us how grief and anger can transcend the structured confines of the legal process. While the justice system strives to deliver accountability, it cannot erase the emotional scars left on those who have lost loved ones. Behind every case are families struggling with unbearable pain and the haunting memory of their loss. Thank you for joining us as we explored these unforgettable courtroom moments. If you found these stories intriguing, be sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notification for more tales of crime and justice. Until we meet again, remember to stay safe and keep informed.